Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, as most of us know, the LCS Lock-In tournament just wrapped up this past weekend. It was really awesome. It was really exciting. Team Liquid Cloud9 gave us an awesome 5-game series, silver scrapes, the whole 9 yards to wrap up the tournament, and it was really awesome. And from that, we were able to draw a lot of different conclusions. We got to answer a lot of questions that maybe we had coming into the tournament, but it also left us with a ton of questions as well. How are things going to look once the actual season starts out? What teams are going to ramp up, continue to improve? What teams are going to start falling off? What teams are going to surprise us? What teams are, we're going to pretty much get exactly what we thought we were with them, and all that awesome stuff. And it's so cool because we get to start answering these questions right away. The LCS season starts this coming weekend. I've had a lot of people ask me that already. Yes, Lock-In tournament ended. Now real stuff is starting. This is 6 weeks of 3 games per team per week. It's going to go so fast. It's going to be so crazy. There's going to be so much action. So before we get into all that, I just wanted to post my final official predictions, power rankings, whatever you want to call it, for the spring split of 2021. We're going to be ranking the teams from 10 to 1, giving my thoughts and opinions on every single team and where I think they're going to be ending the spring split at. And hopefully I'll be getting your guys' thoughts and opinions as well. I'd love to hear your guys' power rankings, where you're shaking everything out. And then, maybe we can look back to this video in a couple of months and see what we got right and what we got wrong. I think that would be pretty fun. Before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you do enjoy this video, you want to help support my content, anything like that, smashing that like button right now would be awesome. Make sure you just click that button really quick. It helps us out so much with the YouTube algorithm, getting our stuff out to more and more people. We have an awesome LCS season ahead of us where we're going to be pumping out a ton of content, so being able to build up this audience, the subscriber base, everything would be great. With that being said, here we go, getting right into this. This is Germ's official power rankings. We're getting into the good stuff. These are the official rankings. I'm going to change this stuff all the time, week to week. I'm going to be coming out with new tier lists, new rankings, all this stuff. But this is the one that is going to be the official, that we're going to look back. I've got to see all these teams play a little bit at the Lock-In tournament. I watched pretty much every single game from the Lock-In tournament. I missed a couple minutes of games here and there, all that stuff. But let's get right into it. Here's my rankings, 10 to 1. The scuffed Germ style that we always, we know and love. But anyway, let's get into it. At number 10, this has changed a lot since before the Lock-In tournament as well. Obviously, we got to see all the teams. Some teams we got to see their full roster. Some teams we got to see, things changed up a little bit as far as having subs and things like that. So it's going to be a little bit weird, and it's still probably not the best time to judge these teams. But anyway, here we go. Number 10, headed into the season, I think Dignitas will be ending up in the number 10 spot. This is a team that I was already kind of low on, before the Lock-In tournament. I had them at number 9. Now I have them at 10 because I think some other teams kind of passed them up. I still do really not like their solo laners. I think Soligo and Fate God, yes, they are young guys. Yes, they're kind of building for the future. But I don't think these are guys that have shown a ton of promise, and that I haven't really been that excited when I've seen them. But I'm even less excited for Neo, their AD carry. I really was surprised that he was able to get a starting spot. So I don't love their young guys, but I don't love their veterans either. Dardoch, Aphromoo. I don't know. Aphromoo was okay during the Lock-In tournament. Dardoch was, I would say, bad, maybe okay as well. But if those are your 2 veteran players, yes, they are guys that have a ton of experience and stuff. Maybe they can help out some younger players, but they're not like going to carry too many games for you. I think this team's really going to struggle. I see them as number 10. Maybe they'll win like, I don't know, 2-3 matches, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go like 3-15, honestly. I think that'll be good for 10th. Also, at number 9, I have Immortals. This is a team that I was also a little bit higher on, but now that I've seen some of the pieces, and we still obviously haven't got to see the whole team, I'm just kind of realizing that maybe I shouldn't be as excited about them. As far as their bot lane, Raze and Destiny, I'm not super excited about either one of these guys. I think Destiny is solid, but I don't think he'll be a standout by any means. And I haven't seen Raze play a ton, but I'm not expecting to be blown away by him right away. I know I've heard that in the OPL, him and FBI would kind of go toe-to-toe, but even FBI wasn't like dominant in the LCS right away, and I think having a progression like FBI's is kind of rare. It's kind of the exception rather than the norm, so I wouldn't be surprised if Raze is not able to dominate in the LCS quite, find quite the success that FBI has been able to find, obviously. Insanity is a guy that I don't mind. I actually kind of like him. I think he's a very solid mid laner. He still kind of makes too many mistakes, kind of throws too many games, but he's still young enough, inexperienced enough to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. Xerxes is the big guy for me. If he comes over to the LCS and is able to pop off, Immortals could shoot up the ranks. I could see them being 8th, maybe as high as 7th, if Xerxes is able to come over and be a solid jungler. But if he's one of these guys collecting checks, or if he's one of these guys that's maybe just, past his prime a little bit and on the way down in his career, even though he's still kind of a younger guy, we've seen people not be able to rebound before. I mean, Huni is still kind of a young guy as well. Then Immortals might be in some trouble. At number 8, we've got Golden Guardians. This is a team that I, as well as many other people, had at number 10 headed into the Lock-In tournament. But I, again, like many other people, were pleasantly surprised with them in the Lock-In tournament. Yes, they looked like a young, inexperienced team. They did some stupid stuff. They did some stupid plays. They threw some games pretty stupidly that they probably should have won. But what this team did do differently from other kind of bottom-tier teams, they play a fast, aggressive, crazy style that is honestly super, super fun to watch. It's fun to watch them surprise some better teams and kind of take it to them, kind of punch them in the mouth. It's also kind of fun to watch them throw some crazy games, too, that they really have no business losing. They win games they have no business winning, and they lose games that they should probably be able to wrap up. I know people were talking about Niles and Iconic a lot before the season. And yes, Niles has been, kind of what we expected, a crazy carry style. He's able to carry some games. He does a ton of damage, but he has some random weird deaths. But man, Iconic has actually been really, really solid. He is the guy that has surprised me much, much more. Also, a Blaze Olive in the mid lane. He was going through like kidney stones and stuff. I could see him looking a lot better once regular season starts. Stixxay, I don't think has been bad at all. I'm still not totally in love with Newbie. I hope he starts to pick up his play a little bit. But I can see this being a very, very solid team that's able to consistently take games off some of these lower teams and is maybe more capable than Immortals or Dignitas of pulling off some random upsets against some teams higher up than them in the standings. Now, I think, again, they still do some stupid stuff. They still have some stupid throws that'll prevent them from, being higher in the standings. But I could see an 8th place finish for Golden Guardians, which is something that a couple of weeks ago I definitely could not have seen. At number 7, I have CLG. This team's kind of hard for me to rate right now because we haven't got to see Finn playing with them yet. Obviously, they had Solo. They're going to have Finn once the LCS season starts. Also, Wiggly, who we didn't think was going to be playing with them, now is going to be playing with them, and we don't know exactly how long. Broxa could potentially miss the entire spring split. He could be back in mid-February. He could be back in late February. He could be back in March. We honestly have no idea. And I do think Broxa is a significant upgrade over Wiggly. So the more Wiggly plays, the more I would want to move CLG down. But say Broxa is able to come back in a couple of weeks, I think he would be all right. And I think he would be good enough. Even though he wasn't great last year, I think he'd be good enough to get CLG to 7th. They have Wild Turtle, Poe Belter, Finn in the top lane. I think they have enough solid pieces to kind of be better than these lower tier teams. I'm not a big fan of Smoothie, and I'm definitely not a big fan of Wiggly. But I think this team could be a solid 7th in my book. But it's just weird because we still haven't got to see a lot of these players at the Lock-In tournament. But, what can you do? We're still just kind of making predictions based off what we got. At number 6, I have FlyQuest. This is a team that disappointed me and definitely disappointed a lot of people during the Lock-In tournament. Yes, they didn't have Jose Dioto for a couple of games, but even once they got him back, they looked a little bit better. They took a game off Evil Geniuses, but they got stomped by Team Liquid, and they really just didn't look good throughout the tournament. Diamond was the biggest disappointment to me. I really, really was not encouraged by the things I was seeing from him. Palafox was hit and miss. He had some good games, had some bad games. Licorice, if he's supposed to be the kind of most experienced player on this team, who's supposed to be like the rock for them, he has not been good enough either. Jose Dioto came in, and yeah, it looked like he provided a little bit of life for this team. But I think, honestly, before the Lock-In tournament, people were probably overhyping him, overrating him a little bit because this team has so many young, inexperienced players. And some of these players, maybe 1, 2 of them will have big breakout seasons and could potentially even become very, very solid LCS players. But it's just the nature of the beast that when you have young, inexperienced players, some of them will not work out. Some percentage of players who dominate Academy or do well in Academy or are just young prospects, they just don't work out, and that's just how it goes. So when you have a team that's all young prospects, you're going to have some clear weak points in your team, especially at certain points in the season. And I think that's going to keep FlyQuest from maybe being able to compete with the top teams consistently or regularly. So even if they have talent, even if they have similar talents in certain positions, some of these other teams, I think they're going to be very, very inconsistent. So that's keeping me from putting them up higher, but I think they're solidly 6th. At number 5, we have TSM, and this is a team that I bumped down quite a few spots from the beginning of the Lock-In tournament. I had them at number 3 coming in because I think they are a very, very talented team in theory on paper. I love the pickup of Power of Evil. I love the pickup of Sword Art. I'm really, really high on Spica. I was, fine with trying out Huni as like a buy low option, and I thought it was cool they got lost. A guy who dominated Academy last season and seemed like, maybe the next future big AD carry in North America. But so far, a lot of that stuff has not worked out. Power of Evil is not playing very well as far as Power of Evil standards go. Spica has honestly had a pretty good start of the season. Sword Art, I think, has been pretty solid as well, honestly. But Huni has been really, really shaky. And Lost, honestly, has been perhaps the worst player in the LCS. I wouldn't put him as the worst player in the LCS, but he is in that conversation, which is just not good enough for a player on TSM, a team that's trying and really spending like they're trying to go to Worlds, trying to get out of groups, trying to do things internationally, trying to compete for LCS titles. You could not have a player playing like that, and that's really keeping me from I think having that many holes on your team. A decent sized hole in top lane and a massive black hole in the AD carry position right now. Things could change, as this team continues to gain experience together, mesh together, learn how they want to play, learn their style. Things could change, but right now, it's hard to rate them higher than 5th, and that's really disappointing. This team is the defending LCS champions. This was their number 1 seed at Worlds last year for North America, but man, things are not looking great right now for TSM. At number 4, we've got Evil Geniuses. This is a really, really weird team to rate right now because they're kind of all over the place. They started out 3-0. They were kind of on top of the world. They were undefeated. And then, obviously, they drop a game to FlyQuest. And then they get knocked out in the semifinals of the Lock-In tournament as well. So people, at certain times, were rating them as high as, like, 2nd, maybe 1st. People were rating them as low as, like, 5th or 6th coming in. They're all over the place. They have a lot of question marks. Impact has been awesome to start the season so far, and that's great to see. If he can keep that up, Evil Geniuses can be a super, super scary team. Sven Skaren's been very solid. Ignar's been great. Definitely has been better than I expected him to be, and we'll see how long he can keep that up. If he can, great. And also, Jizuke came out of the gates really, really hot. They all ended up cooling off against Team Liquid. They, got pretty easily stomped by Team Liquid, which is concerning because 100 Thieves was able to keep a really, really close series with Cloud9, who kept a really, really close series with Team Liquid. So maybe those top 3 teams in North America are kind of distancing themselves from the rest of the pack. But right now, I think Evil Geniuses and TSM could be close. I don't think you should rate TSM higher than EG, but I don't think you should put EG way above TSM either. EG had a really, really easy group. And they took care of business in that easy group. They didn't go undefeated, and then, once they had to play Team Liquid, things kind of got ugly pretty quick. Next up at number 3, with how their series against Cloud9 went, I think you have to put 100 Thieves at 3. They had a chance to beat Cloud9. They were up 2-0, and they couldn't get it done. And the fact that they couldn't beat them in the Lock-In tournament when this team is bringing back 4/5 of the members from last season and just kind of incorporating their top laner in the team, when Cloud9 has more moving parts, bringing in their mid laner and their top laner, is pretty concerning to me because I think Cloud9 has a chance to ramp up more over the course of the season since they have such an inexperienced top laner in Fudge, and they had Perks, who wasn't really playing that great at the time and is still getting used to North America and just how everything's going and his new playstyle and his new role in his team and just playing a new position overall, where 100 Thieves, they should have been performing much, much better right away. And if Cloud9 is already beating 100 Thieves in a series now, I think a couple months from now, Cloud9 has a chance to really distance themselves from 100 Thieves because I think 100 Thieves, they should get better over the course of the season, but I think Cloud9 has a much higher potential to increase at a much faster rate. So that's why I have 100 Thieves at 3. I think they're a scary team. I really like this 100 Thieves team, and it's awesome that they took Cloud9 to Game 5. It's awesome that they had them 2-0. That's awesome that they're feeling the pressure. I love when the LCS is competitive and our top teams are really going at it. But again, it's hard to put them above Cloud9 right now. I think Cloud9 is clearly the second best team in the LCS. They showed a lot of grit throughout this tournament. They were down 1-0 to TSM, came back and won. They're down 2-0 to 100 Thieves. They come back and won. They're down 2-0 to Team Liquid. They come back and lose in Game 5, but it was really, really awesome to see again. I am really, obviously, very, very worried for this team about how Fudge is playing, and I don't know what the answer is going to be in the long term. Are they going to have to hide him on weird random picks, like playing Camille only when you have a Galio, playing Lulu and stuff like that, playing Enchanters, maybe some Janna and stuff? I know they threw him on the Malphite in the one game, and he looked decent. Or are they going to be able to continue to put him on carries like we saw his one good Aurelia game, but his one terrible Aurelia game? If Cloud9 wants to be competing for LCS titles, wants to be going to MSI, wants to be going to Worlds and actually doing damage, they're going to need Fudge to become a real member of this team, not somebody that just gets hidden on random picks. So we will see how that goes. But as far as the positive signs, Perks throughout the entire Lock-In tournament was slowly ramping up. By the end of it, he was looking very, very solid. Maybe not quite G2 Perks, but still a very, very good mid laner. Blabber's been a beast so far. Vulcan's been a beast. And Sven has maybe been the best player in the entire LCS during the Lock-In tournament. So that is very, very exciting to see for this team. They have a lot of great stuff going on. A lot of these players are looking like they're in their spring Cloud9 2020 form right now. And that is awesome to see. But unfortunately for them, there's a new king on the block, and my pick for the #1 spot in the LCS Spring Split of 2021 is Team Liquid. I've been saying this for a while. I think they are the best team in the LCS, and I think they have a chance to potentially be the best LCS team of all time. This roster is absolutely stacked, loaded, so talented. And what they were able to do of winning the Lock-In tournament in the fashion that they did, looking so dominant in the games they won, when Santorin has only been playing with this team for like a couple of weeks, is super scary, as this team has a chance to ramp up over the course of the rest of the season. If the players and the coaching staff do the things that they can do and are supposed to do, this team could be very scary. I think this team actually, if they are able to play to their potential, has a chance to go to MSI and actually do some damage, has a chance to go to Worlds and actually do some damage, and I think they can hopefully start to begin to, bring some respect and honor back to North America, and that would be absolutely awesome. But they are definitely my pick for the #1 team in North America headed into the start of the LCS season, which is going to be taking place this Friday, February 5th. The very first day. I'll be going over my picks, predictions, all that stuff later on in the week, so be looking out for that. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What are your power rankings? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What are you thinking about all these teams headed into the start of the LCS season? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, tap down on my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!